Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to another conversation here with Beth and I. Today, we're going to talk about dealing with criticism in social media. But before we do that, let's just have a quick wrap up here on what's been happening. Hi, Beth. How are you? Good to see you.
Hello. So good to see you. So good to see all of you guys watching. It's Wednesday.
Exactly. Wednesday is here. It seems like, from one Wednesday to the next, like there's only one day in between because it goes by
I
so
know.
fast.
It
So,
does.
always good to chat with you, Beth, and to kind of exchange ideas. And probably our friends who have been watching for a while, they have already noticed that we take turns to bring in the topic week by week. So today is kind of my turn to bring a topic. And I want to talk about with you, Beth, dealing with criticism, particularly in social media, right? Because probably all of us watching this, we have experienced it at some point. You post something, and then, right away or in a little bit, somebody comes and makes a comment that makes you think, ooh, did I do something or did I say
Like,
something? Or
ow, that
yeah,
hurt.
exactly. That hurt. Somebody didn't like my voice, somebody didn't like this or that. And especially as you put yourself out more with more visibility in social, that happens more often. And unfortunately, as it happens, it can also be debilitating for artists to say, well, what's the point, if I'm getting, this negativity or so on, or, the fear of putting yourself out there. So have you experienced with that, Beth, yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm an expert in that.
I'm sure you have, right?
I think at first, like, it feels really hard and really debilitating because you take it so personally,
Mhm.
when really, like, it's not good to take things personally because, if someone's hurting you, that's not your stuff. That's their stuff, right? Hurting people
Mhm.
hurt people, right? So if someone's coming on your post online or whatever, and they're sharing things that aren't very nice, it's like, that has
Mhm.
nothing to do with you. So just, like, have a
Right.
peace about that. Plus,
Mhm.
like, I always chalk it up to, like, 10% of the world just will not like you, period. So just
That's
throw
right.
them in that 10% pile and forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. So today we're gonna share like some things that I always think about, when it comes to dealing with criticism. Some of the ideas that I always come to mind, and hopefully your friends can also, take some of this into consideration next time they put themselves out there. Because here's the thing, the day you decide to open your Instagram, Facebook, or whatever the account, and you decide to uh, post yourself out there through your posts or your words or your images, it's an invitation, right? It's an invitation to reaction. So that by default, the moment actually we put in this video with you and I, right, we're saying to our friends, here we are, it's open to their, again, inviting them to participate in this conversation. So the first thing to say is that, just by participating in social media, um, we are inviting, feedback from people. And feedback always comes into ways, right? In either positive or negative, where somebody will look at your image or your post or your whatever you are talking about and will identify with that in a positive way, or will identify with it in a negative way, right? So hopefully some of the points that I'll be sharing with you will help our friends. So the first one I want to talk about here is whenever you get negative, feedback from whatever you posted out there, I always think about, is it just one person's, interpretation of what I said, or everybody or a big majority of people are getting the same interpretation? Sometimes, I put a lot of information right out there,
Mm.
videos and all this, and sometimes I may have an idea what I wanted to say, but I didn't say it right. So sometimes,
Mhm.
I have to be mindful that maybe sometimes what I tried to say, it didn't come across as I really meant to say it, and that's
Mhm.
why it was taken in the wrong way. So, there's a chance that that may have happened. The miscommunication had happened, and I wasn't good about explaining what I wanted to say. It has happened to me a couple of times. What
Yeah,
do you
I
think
can
about that one?
see how that happens a lot. We as humans, need to communicate with each other, and we all have our own style and our
Mm-hmm.
own experiences that, like, is how we interpret what someone is saying. So,
Right.
of course, I think we can just plan for the fact that sometimes we don't come across as clearly as we need to. I think that's why it's important to always ask for feedback, like especially if you're like wanting to test out some new content, you can kind of like maybe ask your friends, like, is this like what I'm trying to say? Or like, how are you hearing it? And I think that's a good practice to sort of like get that clarity so that whatever it is you want to say, you know, it's going to hit the audience and with the intention that you have behind it.
Yeah. And particularly because, you know, I can be talking to you with a smile in my face, but in the time it goes in a text, you know, you don't see that smile. So it may come across in a different way. And for some of this, sometimes what I use, that's what I use emojis, right? If, you know, if this is supposed to be humor, maybe an emoji of a happy face or LOL or something like that, that helps the viewer identify, okay, in the mood in which I'm posting or I'm communicating this piece of information. Because I found that, you know, when people see that little emoji, helps them to identify, you know, decode kind of like the mood in which the information is being provided.
You know, it's so funny that we do rely on emojis a lot to set that tone. Like we may say something, but we want to make sure that they know like we're being lighthearted about it or whatever. And so we'll do a winky face or smiley face. It's just like, because we're visual though, it makes sense that we would need that visual sort of indication to sort of like trigger our brain to say, oh, okay, yeah, this is a happy post or this is more serious or whatever.
Exactly. And actually that's one of the very few things that I like on Facebook, right, over Instagram, that you can put, you know, the like feeling happy or feeling sad or feeling whatever, right? You have all these, like, I don't know how many choices are there that kind of allows you to set the mood kind of for what you may want to say so that people can get it. At the same time, you know, sometimes you, as you said, very good, right at the beginning, you know, thinking that no matter what you say, you're not going to please everyone. And you're going to have always that, I love that you said, this bucket, right, of 10%ers that don't like you. And I think my bucket is bigger than that. You know, I have people that don't like me. I have had, you know, episodes of my Breakfast with Sergio show where, you know, people don't like something I said or they disagree. And it's okay to disagree, right? I think, you know, I love when somebody disagrees with what I say. But at the same time, sometimes the problem is when they become with an attitude of, you know, of negativity and really hurting, you know, going personal, right? Or I had one guy, for example, once said that, you know, he hated my my set for breakfast. He thought my breakfast was fake, right? Even though I eat it sometimes, you know, at the very end, like studying it, said that it was all props, you know, and so completely skipping the content, right? So you know, criticizing the props, you know, of my show. Others have, you know, said that they don't understand my accent. You know, there's many things in which when you read it for the first time, it can really push you back because we are human beings. But I think, as you said, you know, I think the next point I want to make is the importance of realizing, as you said, that not everybody is going to agree or like you or be in line with what you want to say to your audience.
Yeah, I think that, you know, we have a responsibility to be secure, you know, so that when things do happen like that, it doesn't like ruin our day or knock us off of our, you know, our game or whatever, because we know like we're grounded in who we are. We know who we are. We like who we are. And I think that, you know, if you have a practice where you are becoming more and more secure with you and things that you do and the way you put yourself out there, then someone kind of pushing back on you isn't going to hurt so much. But I think when we're looking outside for validation from other people, and then instead of getting validated, we get criticized, like that's going to knock us down and really hurt us. So I think it's all about the intention too. So like people can tell if you're like wanting approval from them, and that's not attractive. Like no one wants to be put in that situation where like someone's wanting something more of them. So it's important that when you put yourself out there, it comes from a place of strength and confidence, whereas like you're not overly like trying to take something from somebody else because you want their approval or their validation.
Right. Absolutely. I love that. And that kind of leads me to the last point, which is don't overthink it. Sometimes we overthink it too much. And you know, I think it's human nature, right? At the beginning, I used to overthink stuff, you know, why that person didn't like it, why, you know, but then it comes with the territory of putting ourselves out there. And the more you overthink it, the more you debilitate yourself from making your next piece of content. So don't overthink it. There's one feature that I love in all social medias, and it's a swipe delete, right? You can always delete a post. You can always delete a comment. That you say a comment that somebody makes is negative and is hurting you in some way. You can always remove that post without overthinking it too much. I found that when I then go and if I try to start engaging with that person, you're not going to change that person's mind to come into your side, right? And it's not my job to convince that person for whatever dislike he or she may have with me or with my content, right? So, I can always, delete that comment if I feel that it's hurtful in some way. Now, it's different from somebody engaging in conversation or not agreeing with maybe with a point that we made. And that's fine. That's great. I think that's part of a great conversation. But, when somebody comes in the attack, that's what I'm talking about, the attack and really hurting you as a person or your brand or whatnot. You don't have to take 1 second of their time or waste 1 second of your own time trying to convince them, trying to justify why you posted whatever you did. You can just swipe delete. And if that person continues to do that, because there are people that are like that, they just go in everybody's post and they just spread negativity. Well, there's also the block. You can block a person who is just doing that to you, and that way you can continue on with your business.
Yeah, there's this wonderful thing that I do where I ask myself, is this something that I need to accept from them? Because I think when we accept the criticism and we allow that energy to like become one with our energy, then that's something that we hold on to. Now, if we can say to ourselves in the moment, like, this isn't mine, I do not accept this, then that keeps it separate from us. And then we're able to sort of deflect it in a way so that it doesn't harm who we are and ruin our day and all of that. So I think it's important to have that awareness in the moment too. Like, is this mine? Is this theirs? Is this valid? Is it true? And just go through all of these questions before we start thinking, oh no, what they said is going to crush me and can't believe it. And I think that's a form of accepting what they said instead of like knowing that it's not true and you don't accept it at all.
Exactly. And I think that at the end helps you filter the criticism, and it gives you more room to accept the criticism that is helpful to you, that is going to help you, be a better artist, better creator, whatnot. Because there's a lot of people who send me also, suggestions for things so that how I can improve it. And I love those, right? Because they are coming in with great intentions. Say, Sergio, maybe you said this and this is how it might sound better. And like, oh, I love that, right? Because maybe I didn't think of it that way. So it's criticism that helps you grow versus criticism that wants you crush you down. So with that, having said that, and with some criticism probably on our way at some point again in the near future, we want to wrap up this episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let us know also your experiences with that. If you have experienced criticism in your own way in social media, let us know how you have handled it. What kind of tips have helped you, overcome that as well. And before we go, Beth, where can our friends find you on social media? Not so that they don't go to criticize, but they go to uplift you on social media.
Yeah, I'm an encourager. So like, I feel like I just attract what I give out there. And so I'm just hoping for us all to just support one another and everything that we're doing. So if you want to do that with me, I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Beth English. You can follow my group online at the Nashville Creative Group. My website's bethenglish.com. What about you, Sergio?
Excellent. You can find me online, SergioGomezOnline.com. And of course on Instagram, that's where I spend a lot of time at Sergio Gomez Art. So thank you for watching, my friends. We'll see you the next Wednesday, next episode. So have a great day. Goodbye. Bye, Beth.
Bye.